Hi, my name's Kaylee and I've been growing some herbs in my back garden. I decided they needed a little bit of a trim, so rather than cut them and waste them, I decided that I would use what I got and freeze it. I've never done this before, but I thought we'd give it a go. So first of all, I cut off what I wanted to use. I just trimmed them down a little bit, and this is the basil. There was loads of it, so I did really well with this. Next was the mint, and it's not grown quite as much yet, so there was only a little bit, but I thought it was still worth getting. I also had parsley, but my camera didn't work when I filmed that bit, so never mind. This is my daughter Megan, and she wanted to smell the herbs before I started using them, which was really sweet. The first thing I did was cut the parsley up, and I just chopped it really coarsely. I like when we use fresh herbs in our cooking to be able to see what's in there, and I usually quite like big pieces. So that's why I've done it like this. We can always blend them up a little bit more when we use them if we want something a little bit finer for whatever we're making. Next, I got some silicone molds. I use these for ice cubes and things like that. And I just put the herbs into each section of the mold. I labelled the mold using a Sharpie pen so I'd remember what was in it. And then I used sunflower oil on top of the parsley because Google said to. And I've never done this before, so I just kind of went off what Google said. Fingers crossed these work. The next ones that I did was the mint, and like I say, I didn't get very much, but it was worth saving. I didn't want to waste any of it because I'm really proud we grew this. So again, I took off the stalks, I got the leaves, and then I just chopped them really coarsely. Like I say, we can always make these finer when we come to cook if that's how we decide we want them. But I prefer to have bigger pieces in most cooking, so that just felt right for us. This was what we got, and as you can see, it's not loads. But again, I just labelled a silicone mould with a Sharpie pen because that'll wash off really easily. I put the chopped herbs inside, and yeah, these are dinosaur shapes because it's just what I had. As you can see, I only got 4, but never mind. I covered these with water because again, that's what Google said, and I'm just kind of going with what I can find on the internet at the moment. So fingers crossed these work. But I filled them up really carefully, and this is what we got. So you can see there's not as much mint, but it's still worth saving. The last one that I did was the basil because this seemed a little bit more complicated. Online, I read that you're supposed to blanch it first, so I got my boiling water and some ice water ready. I left the basil leaves on the stems to begin with, and then I just popped them in the boiling water for about literally just 10 seconds. I moved them around with the spoon just to make sure they were all fully in the water, and yeah, it was literally about 10 seconds, so it wasn't very long at all. Once they'd been in there for a short amount of time, I just used the spoon, took them out and put them straight into the ice water to stop them cooking. I think that's why you do it. I'm pretty sure that's why you do it. I waited for them to cool down, and then once they had, I took them out of the jug and I took all the leaves off the stems at this point. So I just took all the leaves off. It was much easier to keep them on whilst they went in the water, just because it was easier to scoop them out again. But then this part was quite messy because obviously they were wet. That's my son Harry who's come to smell them. Again, I chopped it quite coarsely because that's how we like fresh herbs in things, but you could whiz them up in a blender if you preferred to get them really fine. So yep, I just chopped it up and then again put it in a silicone mould. This one's unicorn shapes, and again I've labelled it with my Sharpie pen. I topped them up with water and then I popped them in the freezer. I'm really hoping these will work, but yeah, I'm going to carry on filming tomorrow and I'll show you how they come out. So fingers crossed. And this is what they look like now they're frozen. I'm really pleased with these, and I think I'll definitely be doing this with more herbs in the future. I prefer the way that the herbs in water turned out, and I think I would probably do that with the parsley next time. But I'm glad I tried the oil because at least now I know. This is what the unicorn ones looked like, and the dinosaurs. I mean, the shape doesn't really matter, but still I thought I'd show you. The parsley, obviously oil doesn't freeze, So instead of coming out as little stars, you would just pop out the herbs and put it straight in your cooking, which is absolutely fine. But I just felt it was easier to pick one up like I've done with this unicorn, pop it in my cooking, wait for it to melt, and then stir it in. And it was so easy to use. I'm really, really glad that I tried this. And like I say, I'll definitely be doing it with more herbs in the future. If you've got any tips on how you freeze herbs or dry them, how you get the most out of your herb garden, please share them with me because I'm so new at this and I would love any tips. Thank you so, so much.